What is a dream you had that you never executed on? Who is a person you've wanted to ask out but never did? Where is a destination you've always wanted to travel but never went? And more importantly, what stopped you from doing these things? Obstacles are a given in life and will present themselves in many forms all the time. Whether it's a series of red traffic lights, an unexpected bill, or a wild Snorlax. Obstacles are a fundamental part of our existence. But we need to make an important distinction between the obstacles that fall in our way and the obstacles we enforce on ourselves. We should always try to limit the obstacles that we set for ourselves. Trying to limit obstacles that are outside of our control, though, would be the definition of insanity. So instead, we should control the way we react to them and try to learn as we traverse them. Which brings us to today's book, The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. A couple of weeks ago, we had a look at the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, one of the most badass emperors to ever live. But there are many more Stoic texts, and the philosophies are timeless. Holiday decided to write a book covering this timeless wisdom and presenting it in an easy to understand and capturing way. The book is divided in 3 parts: perception, action, and will. Part 1. Perception. The first part is all about our perception of the world. It has been said that our perception is our only true reality. It isn't really that relevant what happens in the outside world. Except for when someone gets dirt on my shoes. That shit matters. What is really relevant though is how we perceive the world and how that changes our state of mind. Recognizing this power is one of the key concepts in this chapter. If you're unaware of your ability to change the way you perceive things, you will always be controlled by the external events around you, unable to come to grips with the pain and turbulence of life. Being aware of your power to change perception is your first step into actually changing your perception and getting more control over the suffering and hardships of life. Another concept is that of thinking differently. Many of us have been taught limiting beliefs since we were young. We were told not to aim too high and not expect too much. Our parents would say things like, "You can't play in the NBA because you're in a wheelchair," or "If your brother can't do it, then you definitely can't." But taking into account that we create our own perception, these limiting beliefs will create a world wherein nothing seems possible. Yet there are many people who have achieved great things. Take Steve Jobs for example. He created products that were revolutionizing and did so on a consistent basis. What was his secret sauce? He wouldn't accept anyone who didn't firmly believe in their own ability to create, work, and shoot for the stars, including himself. This mindset of not allowing limiting beliefs and thinking big and bold was the foundation for his success. But thinking long term needs to be balanced out by something. That's where living in the present comes in. Once you've decided what road you're on and how you are going to perceive obstacles on that road, you have to reel yourself back into the present and simply be on the road. Be there in the moment with every pebble, every track, every curve, every smooth ridge, every drop of sweat. Sorry, I digress. You should be ready to traverse an obstacle as soon as it presents itself. Never hurrying, but always moving forward. Part 2. Action. The ability to take action is a gift each and every one of us has. But unlike our ability to fully control our perception, our actions have just very limited impact. An action is basically a piece of our thinking that we bring into the outer world. The moment that piece interacts with the outer world, it's no longer in our control. This is why we have to be extremely careful with what we take action on. There are already so little actions we can take and even littler results these actions will accomplish. So wasting these actions on things that are outside of our control or that are trivial would be a huge disservice to ourselves. The first thing Holiday writes about is to simply start moving. No matter which direction you go, moving is always better than standing still. Did you get a job offer that you're not really excited about? Take it anyway, because it beats sitting at home not doing anything. Did someone who isn't very attractive ask you on a date? Say yes, because it's better than beating your wood to Asian puke porn. Are you so sick that you can only bear to walk a couple of steps? Take them, because it exceeds lying in bed the whole day. In the thought of sparing energy and action, you should try to look for opportunities where you can use an obstacle against itself. For example, If you've got a competitor who's constantly trying to get in your way, you could either engage with him and spend a lot of energy, or you could focus your energy elsewhere and let him spend all his energy on you. In the end, you'll outperform him without ever having to react. You turn the obstacle against itself. Lastly, you'll have to prepare for none of it to work. No matter how hard you try, how well you perform, and how much time you spend on it, things can always fail. Being prepared for this outcome will not leave you broken and surprised when you fail. But it will keep you vigilant, ready to learn from your failure, turn your obstacle into a path, and keep racing forward. Part 3. Will. If perception is our way of shaping our own minds, and action is our way of executing what's in that mind, then will would be the ability to decide what thoughts will turn into action. After all, we have many thoughts throughout the day, but we only decide to act on several of them. It's our will that decides which one we act on, and it's our willpower that enforces how often we use our will in the way we want. When it comes to your will, you should build a citadel in your own mind dedicated only to your will. No, build a fortress. Better yet, build a triple laser-shielded ballistic missile quantum-secure defense system to protect your will at all costs. That's how important it is. You always want to be in control of your decisions. Always. And then comes perseverance. If persistence would be to direct all your focus and energy to a single problem until it's solved, perseverance would be solving problem after problem after problem. It's persistence in the long term. Persevering through any adversity that presents itself, any storm that blows you from your path, is the ultimate strength. Whether it's losing a limb, complete destruction of our planet, or your mom texting you you're late for dinner, you should always persevere and tackle your obstacles head on. One of the last things Holiday touches on is probably the most feared and most profound topic: death. More specifically, to meditate on our own mortality. None of us want to die, but it's an intrinsic part of life. By now we've learned that we shouldn't spend energy trying to control that which is outside of our control. So instead we should look at what we can learn from death and how we could use it to our advantage. After all, being mad at your friend for eating your cupcake doesn't seem so relevant in the face of death. Instead, you might want to hug her for being there with you while you still can. Then there's also the motivation of a deadline. People who work with a deadline get more done and have a reason to keep at it. If you look at life in this way, you will see the power of the ultimate deadline, or rather, the death line. Meditating on your mortality frequently will keep you focused on what truly matters and will invigorate you to act. Don't fear it, use it. That's it for this book. Of course, there are many more concepts covered in this book, and I'm truly grateful to Ryan Holiday for writing this masterpiece. There is a lot to be learned here whilst also being very digestible. Stoic philosophy? Hell yeah! Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy this content, join the pack by subscribing down below, and always remember Valar Morgulis.